you're not obese enough today. We're going to prove that to you. But I mean, we're already demonetized on YouTube. We've seen that already in the back end of things. But the real title for today is You're Not Obese or Trans Enough. Transam, transmission, transphobe. No, not that one. That's the one we're trying to avoid. But that's the real title for today. You're not thing enough, right? And what's interesting about this is that we've sort of been battling this in the culture war for the last 7-8 years, the post-Trump era of, pro-fat positivity. Obesity is cool. Being weird and disgusting is cool. Sexually, of course. Transgender is cooler than normal people. As long as you have a thing that's typically viewed as abnormal, it's supposed to be better than normal, right? Everybody's trying to find their own niche. No harm, no foul there, of course. But when it gets favorably pushed on the 95% of the rest of the population, everybody's sort of like, hey, okay, back up a bit. And nothing gets rejected more than the fat positivity movement. Why? Because people who are fat are actually unhappy that they're fat, and people don't like looking at it as a form of, hey, this is the greatest thing in the world, and we should be promoting it. And I saw this article floating around here, and it's basically saying that, women who are thin shouldn't be promoted in the media. Now, we've seen the fat Victoria's Secret catalog or whatever it is, the trans Sports Illustrated imaging, and then the Miss Universe with a couple of dudes in it. And it's pretty clear of what the agenda is here. So now I want to get this out of the way and say, don't care if it's OnlyFans. I don't think you should be promoting that. I don't think that's a good thing. But the fact that it's being promoted isn't a crime in itself. So this is what happened. This is from The Sun, I think, or the Daily Star in the UK. Racy model's overtly sexual billboard banned for causing widespread offense. Of course, we're offended in England. We can't not be offended in England. That's basically what England's for at this point, is being offended. So offended that you will just let anything happen. But not if it's a non-obese woman. This OnlyFans star has seen her billboard banned after the Advertising Standards Authority said it was overtly sexual and could cause widespread offense. The ASA received 12 complaints, a big 12, which I guess is representative of a larger number when you get a certain amount of complaints. But it showed model and influencer Em Rose wearing a bra and a silk top open to the fronts. But the complainants, which included London Borough of Haringey, said it was too close to a youth center, schools, and a roller skating rink where kids would see it. The way that they're advertising this, or the way that they're justifying this, and here it is for those of you who want to see what it is. It's this, and they're saying it's too close to certain things. Where is this attitude for anything else? It's not existent. Because if this was a morbidly obese woman at Times Square, which we've seen and we will bring up, then it would all be well and good. That's the problem here. This woman doesn't have, she's not disabled, she's not morbidly obese, she's not pretending to be a man, she's not a guy in a dress, which we've seen with other guys. If that was the case, then this would be allowed and it would be celebrated. At this point, we're gonna bring up obese, billboard. Is that going to come up with what we're looking for? I think it will. But you know what I'm saying? If this was, a 350-pound woman who maybe... what's coming up here, I got to show you guys. Save the whales. That's pretty funny. But we get screwed over by the Brave browser again. If this was showing any sort of, what's the word? Cross-intersectionality, then that would be a completely different story. And we don't have to go back too far to find that. In fact, we only have to go back a few days to find a different, a different version of this. They did this for a different model in July. Eliza Rose Watson, fallen victim of being shadow banned by social media platforms. She decided to promote the old-fashioned way with billboards. The 31-year-old with 2.7 million followers purchased a couple of billboards in London, New York, according to the recovered addict turned gym gym junkie. She spent $23,000 on Billboards. She hopes will do more than promote her page. She wants to help change the perception around adult modeling. Well, that's stupid, obviously. I told you from the outset we weren't going to agree with why they're doing it. It's just that they should be allowed to do it because they're spending money. It's not showing any nudity, as we can see on this one as well. It's basically a bra commercial. And England's got some weird problem with this. As we can go back, and I mentioned we've been doing it since 2017, we've been fighting against this stuff. The London mayor banned subway ads that promote unhealthy and unrealistic body shapes. See, this is where it really comes from. In England, they do not want to promote anyone who's not obese for some reason, or at least, showing some sort of mental illness or showing some sort of intersectionality where they see fit in leftism, where they can say, hey, this is what's been underrepresented. And this is, in the heat of it, 2016, June 14th, just a few months before the Trump election. This stuff was on fire. London Mayor Sadiq Khan banned subway ads that promote unhealthy and unrealistic body types. And what was the ad? It was because it was a weight loss ad showing a woman who was not 600 pounds. Okay? And you look at this and you say, okay, that's a woman in a bikini. And they had all these things. This was in the height of the pro-fat movement, right? You had Milo Yiannopoulos going on shows calling women obese and fat and gargoyles and whatnot. You had other women going on and saying this is not what people want to see. And you also had other women saying, hey, this is a health problem, like nutritionists and stuff saying this is a health problem. And they were still pushing it. And we kind of thought we were over this. I think most people did. And if people had qualms about what it was and what I'm talking about, then here's your evidence. We have this Calvin Klein ad, of course, which is a woman on her deathbed in a few years. Gigantic billboard. She's speaking her truth in her Calvins, you guys. Her truth is, extra large fries, 3 hash browns, and of course a Diet Coke. That's her truth that she's speaking into the box, and you can't say it. There's other ones. If we want to show this one now, this is of course a transgender model who is also obese. So if we compare these, we've got transgender model obese, we've got obese woman of couleur, that's French for you guys. And these are celebrated. They're amazing. And then we go to, normal woman wearing the same amount of clothes as the large woman. And then we've got Subway ad, woman in a bathing suit promoting weight loss. Got very long arms. We won't talk about that. These things are bad. Trans or morbidly obese thing, good. Women who are normal size, completely bad promoting fitness. And it doesn't even matter what they're promoting because obviously nobody cares about promoting OnlyFans. These can be equally bad, But which ones get the backlash? Nobody says pornography promotion is good, but nobody also says, seriously, promoting transgenderism and obesity is also good. Either none of it's allowed or all of it's allowed. And as it stands, what the establishment wants you to believe is the good thing is being anything but normal. Why? Because if you're not a part of the majority, if you're part of that 10%, then you can blame the other 90%, the establishment, for all your problems. Now, they could very well be the source of all your problems. I'm not going to sit here and say the government's doing a great job because they're not. And the political establishment is doing a great job, but they're not. But we don't get that specific in these instances. What you're saying is, hey, transgender person, hey, morbidly obese girl who wants that extra chalupa, you say, you are a permanent underclass, and the foot of the people above you, the normies, is never going to come off you because they hate you. Look at Andrew Says. He's saying that you're gross and you're ordering too many fries Supremes, only in Canada. So therefore, you need to rise up, topple this system, topple capitalism, and we'll start anew, and everything will be even distributed evenly, and we'll all be happy, and it'll all be a good time. We totally won't go to gulags. We totally won't starve. We totally won't diminish our dollars and way of life. You'll totally get a sweet new type of government housing and a government union job that pays $30 an hour. All that can be given to you if you just topple the society that you have today. Because, see, they don't want you to have these freedoms. They don't want the morbidly obese person on the billboard. They just want to show you these normal people who are sick and disgusting when they should be wanting a 60-foot tall mural of a guy in makeup with breast implants. That's what they think you should be having. And if you can't have that 5% of people, 2% of people, then we need to topple the whole system. You see what I'm saying here? It all comes down to you're not obese enough, you're not trans enough, you're not weird enough, and if they don't accept you for no matter what the thing is about you, you have to be not just accepted, but celebrated and given everything. And if you don't, it's because the system is unfair, so topple it. That's just called communism. That's how they institute communism in every country. Except they had to twist it. Back in the good old days, back in the 50s or so, or maybe the 1850s, you could be like, look at all these piece of crap farmers. They've got all the food. They've got all the land. We got to get rid of them. We'll replace them with you guys because you guys would be better farmers than them, and we'll redistribute all their money, and everything will be good. That's the old thing to do with communism. And then eventually they realize we can't farm, we can't feed everybody, and we're screwing ourselves. We got to start this country over again. They realized that nobody cared about farmers. That's a separate issue now. That's the climate change thing. They realized nobody really cared about that. So they had to go a different route. And they had to say, hey, this is a racial thing. It's a body type thing. It's a sexuality thing. Basically, it's an everything thing that you care about. And it's looking good and getting attention for your looks. They pinpointed society and they're like, what do people care about? They care about getting likes and looking good. So let's put the morbidly obese transgender people at the forefront of the algorithm so they can get all the attention. Everybody's going to hate that. And then we can have them fight against each other. That's the new way that they're doing things. And that's the new communism. It still create the permanent underclass and attack the bourgeoisie, except now it's the permanent underclasses, being anything but white and being fat, just being anything other than a straight white guy. And then the bourgeoisie is just being a guy. It doesn't even get that specific on the other hand. And that's just who gets affected by it. So we've been battling this since 2016. And there have been people who say, hey, I'm going to battle this myself. And one of them was a professional wrestler. And he decided, hey, I'm a woman. I was a muscular WWE star, and I lost all my muscle mass when I transitioned. How I transformed my body. I mean, you lost all your muscle mass because you stopped working out and you put hormones in your body. Now, I want to point out this says January 13, but this story's been going around for years, this guy. And let's also be honest here. Nobody actually knows who this guy is. Was he in the WWE? Yes. Can you pick him out from a lineup? No. They don't even mention his wrestling name because that's not the focal point of this. When I was a WWE wrestler, I weighed 280 pounds. My body fat was between 6 and 8. Now, as a female fitness coach, see how easy that works? Now, as a female fitness coach, believe me, I weigh 187 pounds. My body fat is about 18%. Sculpting my body to fit my mental self-image has been extremely difficult. Since there is no reliable guidance on how to lose muscle mass as a trans person, mind-boggling, I know. I need to figure out this myself. Ultimately, I succeeded, but it was not an easy journey. So, again, isn't it strange that this guy was a big buff guy and he's not getting the attention he wants. He's not getting the attention he thinks he deserves. So what's his immediate thought, right? I'm going to become a thin white woman. I don't want to be I'm a woman. It doesn't make any sense, obviously. I feel like I'm a woman inside, but instead of just being a woman and having all these muscles and saying I'm a woman, what I actually need to be is a thin woman with specific blonde highlights and a specific look of the internet. So it's not like it's not like he actually had the idea that he was a woman. He was like, I want to be a specific type of woman that's now the alleged sought after thing, which is hilarious. Why is it hilarious? Because when this guy becomes a girl, he doesn't say, "I want to be the 60-foot image of the morbidly obese girl here on the billboard." He doesn't say, "I want to be that." Even though that's supposed to be bold and beautiful, right? This is supposed to be beauty. This is supposed to be the billboard that this is new beauty. She's speaking her truth. It's in black and white, so you can't see the majority of the stuff that they're photoshopping out here on the edges. The arm is barely visible. You don't want to see that bicep. That's supposed to be the beauty, but when this guy becomes a woman, he actually goes for this. He doesn't actually go for the morbidly obese person. He goes for the thing that they say is too shocking. Right? In England they say it's too much, it's inappropriate, you can't be shaming things. But what's the first thing that the transgender people do? What's the first thing that guys that want to become women do? They become the thing that they hate because they couldn't get them, right? They become the girl that they think is pretty. But we're at the same time we're not supposed to like that. All at once, there's no such thing as gender. There's only two there isn't only two genders. There's no such thing as a woman. A woman is whatever you perceive it to be. We can't define that. But traditionally attractive women are also ugly. You should be morbidly obese. But when you go to become a woman, you actually become the thing that you're supposed to hate, right? None of it makes any sense. So either you're not obese enough, but you can become trans, but you gotta be trans in a way that, traditionally is supposed to be attractive. So you feel like a woman so much that you want to become the women that aren't supposed to be the role model for women. It doesn't make any sense, which is why you've got to throw this all out, right? This guy who's a wrestler, throw everything he says into the trash. He has no idea what he's talking about because he says he feels like a woman. So why do you have to change? You have to align your personhood, your looks with how you feel inside, and somehow it's that, and somehow this is how this guy feels inside. He feels like a girl who is actually trying to be like an Instagram model. Is this how he would have felt 20 years ago? 20 years ago, he didn't have a different image of himself that looked like the popular image of a woman at the time. In 1992, this guy didn't feel like he looked like Blossom or something. Is that what you're telling me? Or did he just go with whatever he thinks is prettiest now?
Turn it up, Jordan.